All right, guys, so I just wanted to talk about this train wreck of a situation that is the Los Angeles Angels. This may end in them moving out of Los Angeles. That's how bad it is and how bad it's going to get. So a few days ago, we got the news that Shohei Ohtani is done for the year, at least in terms of pitching. And Ben Verlander, who's literally obsessed with Ohtani on Twitter, this is Justin Verlander's brother who works for Fox, I believe. And I think Ohtani might have been contemplating getting a restraining order against him or something. But just take a look at this. Oh my God, Shohei Ohtani has a torn UCL. I'm going to throw up. I will literally give you my UCL, Shohei. This is so sad, in all caps. No, for those asking, I am not okay. This sucks. This picture is so much sadder now that we know that Shohei Ohtani knew he tore his UCL at this point. Oh my goodness, that's so terrible. Woke up today and feel still just absolutely awful for Shohei. Heading into the studio now, gonna be quite the episode. So this dude legitimately had a complete full-blown meltdown on Twitter because his favorite MLB player, I'm guessing he likes Shohei more than Justin, his own brother, but Shohei gets injured and this kid just can't take it, I guess. And then there's some tweets, safe to say he lost sleep over this. It's been weird for a while. Someone quote tweeted and was like, what's going on with this dude's obsession with Shohei Ohtani? The obsession with him is unreal, beyond weird, just cringy at this point. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but overall, this entire situation with Shohei Ohtani, him having another injury, the UCL, he had Tommy John back in 2018. People are starting to question, what is he worth in terms of his contract? The idea is he would get a $500 million deal as a two-way player. But even if Shohei Ohtani was perfectly healthy, that is a huge risk. It's not like this dude is 24 or 25. He's getting up there. The majority of a potential 10-year contract is going to be in his 30s, almost similar to like the Aaron Judge deal that he got at age 31. So Shohei Ohtani, people are starting to wonder, is he possibly just going to be like a closer now? Are they going to bring him in for relief? Whoever trades for him, is he going to get $300 million, $400 million? How much is it going to be reduced? Because you would have to think, for as good as Shohei Ohtani is, they have been going with a six-man rotation, so you would need an extra pitcher. That kind of nullifies the whole idea that he gives you an extra roster spot, because he does need more rest if you're using a six-man rotation, because he also hits. And then the other thing is he's virtually an automatic DH. Now, would it make more sense for them to say, listen, forget about pitching. We want you as a right fielder. You can DH, 20% of the time and play right field the other 80%, and we want you to hit. And if he's hitting like he's been hitting this year with like an 1100 OPS, leading the league in home runs, that's plenty good enough for, honestly, like an Aaron Judge type contract. But it's just a whole weird scenario where if you keep pitching him, you might mess him up so much to where he can't even hit. So whoever ends up signing him, I'm sure it's not going to be the Angels because he wants to win. And clearly he's going, right now he's in the absolute prime of his career. He's going to be leaving. I said the Angels should have traded him at last year's deadline when there was a year and a half left on his contract and they could have gotten a boatload for him. They could have gotten at least 2 top 20 prospects, or at least like 3 top 100. They end up keeping him, and then this year they go for it and they immediately fall. They're like 10 games out of the wild card. The Angels are an absolute train wreck, and you can see this is Mike Trout. This is turning into a terrible contract. If the Angels wanted to trade Mike Trout this offseason for nothing, I'm not sure they'd be able to do it. Maybe, but the issue is when you look at this contract, teams are going to see this guy is injured every year, and he's injured multiple months every year. He's turning into a de facto DH at this point, and his production also decreased now. He still had like an 850 OPS, but for him, that's pretty low. And if you're going to be injured all the time, $35 million through 2030 with a full no trade clause. I would imagine Trout would waive his no trade clause to virtually any team. He has to be desperate at this point. He has 0 playoff wins in his career. And, whether you think playoff wins are a team stat, that's still going to hurt your legacy, dude. You got to at least have one good playoff run. So if I was Trout, I would obviously demand a trade. But if you're the Angels, you're not getting a top prospect back, and you're probably going to have to eat a lot of that money. I just wonder what team would be willing to trade for Trout, because you're getting a superstar, you're getting one of the greatest players potentially of all time, but you're also dealing with that horrible contract. The dude's aging and he's getting injured every single year for multiple months. And Trout actually came off of the IL, and then one day later he went right back on it. And it was the same day that Shohei Ohtani tore his UCL. So the Angels are just a complete mess. And that's not even mentioning Anthony Rendon, who might have the worst contract in baseball. I mean, what has he played? Played like 150 games in his 4 years with the Angels, and he signed through 2026 with a full no trade clause, $38 million per year. So Trout's getting $35 million, Rendon is getting $38 million, and they're going to have to try and re-sign Ohtani, who's an injury risk in his own right, possibly not even going to pitch again, but I'm sure Ohtani's just going to laugh at them and not even consider. I mean, he might consider it because I'm sure he likes LA and stuff, but he might want to stay on the West Coast. There's no way Ohtani resigns to this team with the amount of money that they have invested right now into Trout and Rendon, who get injured every year. Their situation is just horrifically bad, and on top of all of that, they do not have a good farm system at all. They're one of the worst farm systems in MLB. And then we also have their owner, who is hated by pretty much everyone. This coming out last year, Angels owner agrees to cancel $320 million Angel Stadium land deal. It is unclear where the owner of the Angels goes from here. The team has an agreement to continue playing at Angel Stadium until 2038. So this situation could get ugly. It came out that Artie Moreno, originally last year, he was going to sell the team. It was announced, and then he said in the winter, no, I've decided to, I want to stay. I want to still own the Angels. And of course, it's just been all downhill since then. I mean, Ohtani was having a historic season, but other than that, they're not going to make the playoffs. Ohtani's going to leave. You're going to get nothing for him. I mean, I guess you'll get one of those late first-round picks when he does sign with a new team. And the other issue is Mike Trout and Rendon keep getting injured and have terrible contracts. So the Angels are in a bad place. And also, they had an agreement to try and redevelop the stadium. Angel Stadium is one of the worst stadiums in MLB. It's very old. It is very outdated. There have been ideas, possibly the Angels moving to Long Beach. Those were kind of floated out and circulated in 2021. But now it does seem like a strange situation because they do need a renovation, but the renovation that was possibly going to get agreed upon has been nixed. So I don't know where the Angels go from here. Does the owner just sell the team because they're going to have to go through some type, you would figure, of a major rebuild? Do you really trust Mike Trout to be fully healthy next year? You lose Ohtani. Are they even going to be 500? I highly doubt it. I mean, they can barely be 500 with Ohtani putting up like a 10-war season as it is. So this situation is just really messed up. And I think the Angels are headed for a huge rebuild because they have horrible contracts, and it does look like Ohtani is leaving, and then they're going to have a horrible stadium situation that could get ugly. I'm not saying it's going to be an Oakland 2.0, but depending on what happens with the unstable ownership, you could be looking at them possibly the owner selling and then the team getting moved. They need some type of renovation, you would figure, put in place in the coming years because it is a very bad stadium, and it makes matters worse when Ohtani leaves and the team has to go full-blown rebuild because they have no good young prospects, or at least very few good young prospects to build around. So that is the train wreck. That is the LA Angels. We'll have to see what happens this offseason with Ohtani, what type of contract he gets. I would imagine it's probably going to be still probably $450 million. It just depends how bad this injury is. I don't think this injury affects his hitting, but I'm sure Ohtani is being told right now by his agent he should just shut this season down. He's already going to win the AL MVP if he doesn't even play another game because he's been so good, and really everyone else in the AL, it's been kind of a down year, so he should just shut things down and prepare for free agency and get his mega contract and be completely fine with like a 10-year I don't know, what is it, 450 million? Maybe he won't get 500 million. But if you're a team that's signing Ohtani, it is a bit of a risk. There are going to be owners, though, that are very attracted to Ohtani, even if he gets injured, because he is such a massive draw. Your attendance is immediately going to go up. He is the number one draw in MLB. It's him, and then it's everyone else. So you also have to factor that in. So maybe someone does give him 500 million, but it's just such a risk. I mean, I'm guessing it's going to get to the point probably early in his contract where they're just going to tell him, just stop pitching, just focus on hitting. If you can hit like 45, 50 home runs every year and not be an auto DH, you're going to be extremely valuable. So maybe that's what ends up happening. Maybe he transitions and becomes a closer where he only throws like 3 or 4 innings a week. I don't know. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on X. Link to that's always in the description.